I know I'm in your spot. But this is my good side.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys gonna have a camera?
Yeah. What?
Well, yeah, it has to be on the thing. What's up, heathens?
How y'all doing?
What's up, heathens?
Did you guys see Heath's video yesterday at all?
Mm-mm.
No? Oh,
Wait, are we
well, he
live?
Huh?
Oh yeah,
Are we
we're live.
live?
Yeah, we're live now.
Yeah, we're live. Heath's video started out with, "What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?"
Sorry. I just
tell you,
started.
it's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
One
Anyways.
of my favorite memories
oh,
is you
gosh,
leaning
minute.
out of your car, pulling up to the parking lot of the hotel for Faithless Forum, and going, "What's up, heathens?" This is really you.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like that all the time. And when we were in Dallas, there was another guy, Mac Clark. He may be here, I'm not sure, but he did a video. He'd ordered one of GE's, beanie hats. And so he did a video wearing it, and he started it out with the "What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?" thing. So kind of a thing.
Do you guys have hats or merchandise that just says "What's up, heathens"?
Do we have anything that just says "What's up, heathens"?
Yeah, because you have like Godless engineer beanies, but what if people want the "What's up, heathens" beanie?
I don't know. We should do that. We should get like shirts made. See, here's the thing though. Like we get the stuff made first and then ship it out ourselves. So like it
Because
makes
like how awesome would that be if like you walked up to someone and they have like a "What's up, heathens" hat on or shirt on, and you just come up and you're like, "What's up, heathens?" Like there's that instant like you get it, like both of you get it.
What if it becomes one of those things like the early Christians had, where you draw the fish, like you come up and you write "What's up, heathens," and the other person confirms by saying, "How y'all doing?"
how y'all like it's some sort of secret.
I love it.
Oh my god, you guys are a mess.
Either way, I don't know if I'm like mirror mode or
Yeah.
what. But,
Use
yeah,
your
I've been wearing
voice.
this-
It's our
I've been wearing
bracelets.
this every single day since Faithless Forum.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wear mine every day too. Thomas, I don't think you got one. Did you get one?
I don't think you gave me one.
Well, they were laying out on the table. Plus, when I was giving them,
I
when I-
don't have any excuse. Except that I was running around like a chicken with its head
yeah,
cut off.
when I gave them to a couple people that morning when I pulled them out, you were going crazy trying to hook up all the audio video stuff. So it's not a big deal. We'll see you soon. So like next month, right? So we'll give you one then.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have another one, so I mean, if you're passing by, then I'll just give you. this
Drew's
one.
like, I got extra.
I really wanted a beanie though, and I never got a beanie. I just totally forgot.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, we'll see you next month too, probably, right? So
Yeah,
That's fine.
probably so.
yeah.
Wait, so is next month you're talking about up in Kansas?
Yeah.
Because I know we all wanted to do the Creation Museum, and then like we're still pinpointing a date for that.
Yeah, I think it might have to be July maybe because the only weekend in June I have to be in town because my parents are going to be out of town and my aunt who has Asperger's is here. So she needs like an emergency person in town. So I need to be here and they're gone for like 3 weeks. So the only weekend I had available was the one we talked about and you guys have Camp Quest. So we're busy people, right?
Who knew that YouTubers have lives?
I know.
I thought we all just sat around in our mom's basement eating what Twinkies or tacos or whatever.
Well, no, okay, so I wouldn't be eating Twinkies, but I would be shoving tacos up my ass.
That's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't even be eating tacos for John.
Can you still get nutrients that way if it's comes in the wrong end?
Oh, sure. I mean, if you shove it up far enough, I mean, you still get nutrients, right?
I mean, alcohol
science.
enters your bloodstream a lot faster that way, right? So, what happens if it's salsa instead?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, that might be good. But today we're here to talk about Faithless Forum. Now that I'm back and stuff. So we just had Faithless Forum, and we thought that what we would do is come on here and kind of just have a quick little meeting, not only between us but other board directors that could make it, and field questions. So if you do have questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them as we get to them. But one of the biggest announcements out of Faithless Forum Week here on YouTube has been that we're planning on doing a nonprofit, and we're starting that process. And I know Drew's kind of been working with somebody to kind of get that starting and get it going. So I don't know, Drew, do you want to say anything about like our nonprofit venture?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm working with someone this weekend to get some of the initial paperwork stuff started so that we can get our bylaws and propose, a certain legal standing and get that recognized by the state government in Texas. And yeah, so basically, we would be a nonprofit educational organization that would focus on building community in like the atheist community, and it wouldn't just necessarily be uh, putting on conferences, but also doing some things online like we already do, but just under the name of Faithless Forum, and they would all be kind of community building exercises. Hopefully we can make it to where Faithless Forum grows beyond just our Dallas conference and into something bigger that unites creators pretty much anywhere we're able to find them.
Yeah.
So that's the entire goal. We need a group of people. We need a conference that's specifically there to build community and has nothing to do with trying to make a profit or trying to get these huge big name speakers or anything. It needs to be something fundamentally different from the normal conference scene right now. So that's what we're going for, and that's what Faithless Forum this year already was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, and I
amazing.
think the aim too is it's while this one was entirely organized by atheist YouTubers, we stress throughout the event that like if people are wanting to get involved in the movement, they don't have to become YouTubers. They could become bloggers, podcasters. They could support stuff financially, help organize their own conferences, organize local groups, or even just talk to people one on one about stuff. So while we are YouTubers, we're encouraging people of all stripes and whatnot flavors of activism to volunteer of this cause.
No, I agree. And I think the reason why we've really focused on YouTube is because I believe all of us agree that YouTube is a really great like community place. Like we're able to build up a community on YouTube and really provide a lot of connectivity that way. I don't know. I feel that way. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, well, we had all of us here. We had all the composite parts, and then when things really, really started, all the collabs, people call it the YouTube Atheist Shared Universe. Uh, Basically, I mean, people have commented on streams that we've been on in like the Geek Room, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many atheists here." And in some of my videos where I talk about Professor Stick and about Thomas and about Paul and everything, and they say, "Yeah, we're an atheist shared universe." When all that really, really started, we all knew of each other, but it started when Thomas made the Facebook group that kind of brought us all into one place to talk about collabs and everything, and he headed that up. And kind of at the very beginning, it was Thomas like, "Hey guys, talk about collabs. This is what this group is for." And now we've just kind of taken off with that, and I feel like the group really hardly even needs a moderator because we're all kind of a really cohesive community. Um,
Yeah.
but
Well, and now there's like Godless Engineer. You've got like a Discord server, and Logic just set up one, and a bunch of us are on that one too. And so like it's starting to really explode. You have kind of real time stuff going on constantly through Facebook chats. And sorry, I cut you off, Drew.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, but another thing that we also have through just our community on YouTube is now we have this interconnected network, and it seems almost like it's headed by Shannon Q. Actually, when someone finds a new creator, holy shit, they're gonna get subscribers really fast.
Yeah.
She scouts them out.
Yeah, she does. And it used to be basically just Godless Cranium would do that. And then I started doing that a little bit, found out I was not as good at it as Godless Cranium. I probably have more of a life than he does. So, and then,
I'm laughing at
uh,
Drew.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, and then Shannon really became the person to do that. So I was just contacted by a small creator who's extremely good. So I'll be throwing a name up on Twitter in the near future to do that. But Yeah, YouTube is a way that we can communicate with each other better than really on any social media platform right now. But we have, I don't know, friends and partners that don't do just YouTube. I mean, like I really
Right.
like the blog, The Closet Atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're like Godless Iowan. Before he had videos, he was doing a blog, and we were all about that too. You know, they're just as much a part of us. And so hopefully we can keep going in that direction. But I think that for a while, the backbone will definitely be YouTube.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But you know, like Thomas was saying, that you know we aren't exclusively talking about YouTube. Obviously, during the conference, we made sure to highlight, you know, every facet of being a creator. That's why we didn't say like YouTube personality or YouTube creator or something like that, because it's creators in general that we want to inspire and really build a community with. I mean, KC right here is actually on the staff of the Godless Mom blog, right?
No.
The pet, huh?
On her staff?
No, like you're a writer for Godless Mom. Like you
No.
could put.
So
no?
I'm doing a guest blog for
Oh,
Godless
okay.
Mom
Sorry.
on Pathos. Just a guest blog.
Sorry, she's doing a guest blog. My bad. I guess I misunderstood what.
But
what
I mean,
it was.
I've been published on Atheist Republic before a couple of times and stuff like that. So,
But yeah, it's every facet of being a creator, and it's all important.
So we have a couple of questions, if I can interject. Brian asked, "What's in Kansas next month? A barbecue." Yeah, we're all driving to Kansas for a barbecue. It'll be fun. We do crazy shit like that. Like this weekend, we're driving 6.5 hours to meet Telltale at the Creation Museum for no reason, just to hang out and have fun. Like it'll be a good time.
In June, you drive 16 hours for barbecues.
Well, we're gonna be driving 11 hours for a barbecue. Also, somebody, where is this? Your boy, did Chloe get plastic surgery? No. Will you guys invite Ken Ham? No. Anybody else have answers to these questions?
Well, okay, so about the like who we invite and everything like that. I think that we're gonna plan on inviting like a diverse set of people, but I feel like the focus is always gonna be on the smaller creators in the community. Not necessarily like only huge people. We will have some bigger people there. Like, I mean, you know, we could possibly have Seth Andrews there or Aaron Raw there to either be on a panel or have their own small speaking spot, like we did with Anthony Magnabosco this year. But I think for the most part on the panels, what we want are the smaller creators who are starting out, but who are like fresh coming off of, like, you know, the whole scene of, you know, being an atheist just in general, like in the population. And so I feel like that gives us a unique perspective of, you know, having to deal with the same problems that our audience is dealing with.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things. So one of the things we've talked about is having a panel called New Blood. So we have, you know, a spot just for new creators. But yeah, we're tossing around a lot of different things. We haven't come to any final decisions on any of those things yet, but we're working through it.
Can I say too, like at the end of the first Faithless Forum conference, I had a lot of people that came up to me and they're like, "Hey, I want to be a part of the next one." And if you want to be a part of the next one, the advice I would give is, yeah, we do have, you know, people in our community like Shannon Q who go out of their way to try to find new creators and to kind of get them plugged in and help them get started. But we're not just looking for, you know, any piece of content. Like we're, you know, especially if we're going to have you as like a speaker or something, we're going to give you a platform. Like we're not, you don't necessarily have to have tens or hundreds of thousands of subs, but we want to see that there's passion and we want to see that there's quality and improvement in your work. And if you don't know how to make videos yet, reach out to us. I can't always, you know, coach people through all the process, you know, just because I'm super busy, but I guarantee you that someone in that group, especially some of the smaller content creators who are kind of in that same boat as you, who are learning or maybe a little bit ahead, or some of the bigger ones might chime in too, will be able to reach out to you and help you out and get you going, let you know what software to use, what tools to use, give you some pointers and advice to make your channel look better. Maybe even evaluate it and say like, look, here's what you need to fix to really start pulling people in. and to improve your quality. And once you have the quality there, once you're putting out regular content that you're passionate about, and it's improving constantly, then then we might be like, hey, this is someone to look out for, that we would like to have come to Faithless Forum, if at the very least to help with setting up everything, and to help us, like this year we had Brilliant Doubt was helping out with cameras, and Surus was helping out with cameras too, and we had people helping out with sound and stuff. So there's lots of different positions that you can volunteer in, but the biggest thing is, like, we want to see, like, are you passionate about it enough that, like, you want to give back to the cause? And I think every
Yeah.
single person at Faithless Forum, they wanted to give back to the cause. They weren't just, in it for themselves. They weren't in it to grow a massive audience or something. They were just, we were there to contribute and to help others. And if we see that that's kind of your focus, and you're more collaborative rather than just cannibalizing your own and throwing out videos to get subs by creating drama, then, if you're more cohesive than that, then I think that we really do have a place for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drama. Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, it really depends on if you kind of proven your dedication and your passion for this, and you are striving to make like every single video better than the one before it. And I think that Brilliant Doubt and Surus are the perfect examples of people that do that.
Mhm.
And so they would be people, that we'd be interested in. And we said that right there on stage, that we'd be interested in having them do that. And I'm really glad that they became just as much a part of it as any of us did, because I think they deserve that spot. And if they keep going, they're going to be where we are right now next year. And hopefully some people will rise up, and there will be new creators that are the size of Brilliant Doubt and Surus next year, and they can do the same as Brilliant Doubt and Surus did this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really doesn't matter your sub count. If we had someone who had, is mid-size, like 50,000 subscribers, but and they talk about atheist stuff, but yeah, they are kicking up drama, then we don't really want you. That's not what we're going for. We want
Yeah.
people who are trying to make something productive. And I'd rather have someone with 500 subscribers on a panel that is really, really passionate about this stuff and is going to deliver well on a panel, um, because of their dedication. Uh, I'd rather have them than someone with 50,000, 100,000 that likes to kick up drama for attention.
Well, yeah, and I mean, at some point, we all had 500 subscribers, right? I mean, except for me, I still have like 50, but but I mean, it really is about a positive atmosphere and environment, and it really did have such a familial feel to the conference, and that was great. And so, we're not interested in drama. We're not interested in focusing on the things that divide us. We're interested on building a community and focusing on the things that bring us together and places we can make a difference. And, I think, and one of the things I'm seeing from this and from like all of us coming together in general, like you said, since Thomas made that group and everybody really started collaborating a lot, what I'm starting to see is even smaller creators. When a creator gets, a couple hundred subscribers, they're plugging even smaller creators. And so it's just having this giant ripple effect, and it's unbelievable. I love Godless Iowan and Mrs. Snarky. One of the things that I love that they do is they created a Patreon, and when Godless Iowan gets a what are they called on Patreon? Patron. I don't have very many. when Godless Iowan gets a patron, he takes whatever they get and he becomes a patron of somebody else that's a smaller creator than him. And so I think that that's amazing, and I love that community building attitude, and that's what we're going for. That's what we want.
Right, and I would say that if anybody is really looking for like a good like checklist of things to really get the attention of the organization here, I would say like not necessarily like a weekly schedule or something, especially nothing like I do, obviously, but like just a consistent posting of content on social media or on your account or whatnot. Like, for instance, with Brilliant Doubt, he posts, I believe, every Sunday is when he posts. And I mean, he just posts one video a week. But I mean, he's a really good candidate to have on a panel or just at the conference in general next year.
Whatever. I don't even care if he only posts on Sundays. His videos are fantastic.
Well, yeah, and like, I mean, Prophet Azad, I mean, I think that he posts once a week as well. So I think just as long as you have a consistent schedule of like uploading, like it doesn't even have to be like every week, it could be every 3 days or something like that, but
just regular content, just
right,
as long as you're producing regular content and you're being part of the community and you're active in it.
Right,
there's not any specific criteria for how many times.
If you look at some of the bigger channels, YouTube channels out there that aren't atheist channels, that like there are ones like I think it's Kurzgesagt, however you pronounce it, in a nutshell, the German one with all the animations and stuff, and they talk about sciencey stuff. They put out one video a month because they do quality over quantity, and I think CGP Grey did the same thing for a while. And every single one of their videos is like phenomenal, and they're getting millions and millions of views per video, and they're really making a difference, but they're not putting out weekly videos, they're putting out monthly videos. And like, if you need a little bit more time or something, as long as it's not like, oh, you put out a video and then there's like 6 months go by, and then 4 months go by, and then 2 months go by, and then 6 months again. Like, we want to see a community that's engaging. Or if you're like Shannon Q, she's never put out a single video on her channel,
but she's in everything.
But she's everywhere.
She's like everywhere.
She's a part of the community, and she's talking to different people, and she's very intelligent, and she's going to guest on other people's shows, and she's on Apologia's show and stuff. And so yeah, absolutely, we have a place for her. It's just how involved and how much are you participating and wanting to improve the community.
Well, yeah, and her type of role in the community, even though she doesn't make content necessarily, I mean, she is making content through the live streams, but she doesn't make her own videos. She doesn't write for a blog, but her role in the community is so important because she will essentially talk to anybody. She's incredibly intelligent. She's funny, and she really does work to build up the community and is super active in it. So even though she may not have content of her own, her role is just as important.
Her Twitter game is on fleek.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Well, I mean, it was Casey and Shannon together that named Faithless Forum.
Yeah.
So one of you came up with Faithless and the other one came up with Forum. So
whoa.
You weren't on that call, Thomas. Is Tom? He's choking.
Was it? Sorry. Was it where you have like you go around in a circle and one person says one word and another says another, and that's how you came up with the name?
I mean, kind of. It kind of worked out that way. It wasn't intended to be that way. I don't remember. We had, 5 or 6 people on the call. I think Telltale was on, and Drew and me and Shannon. Zod might have been there. I'm not really sure. I can't remember who all was there, but yeah, we kind of were like, okay.
Drew's like GMO.
John kept going. No, John, one word at a time.
Yeah. So
Godless Cranium's like GM Skeptic sucks, and then you get to Caitlin, Chloe, and Shannon, and it's like Faithless Forum. Okay, let's stop at that one. We got
the phone calls, seriously though, the planning phone calls were hilarious because we would get off topic so much, and the calls would be hours.
Okay, we have to tell them about the birth control method that we had come up several times.
Oh, the bacon condoms?
Yeah,
those are funny. So like we would be on a call and we just get off on a completely like random topic, and somehow we ended up on bacon condoms. So I was looking up bacon condoms and how I could order them fast enough to get them for the Faithless Forum, not for like to pass out there or anything, but like just as an internal kind of funny thing.
I would say planning this conference has been 75% bullshitting and just talking, and then 25% actual planning.
Hey, we did hard work, man.
Bullshitting is important.
Yes.
When you're able to laugh and you're able to joke with each other and not take yourself so seriously, it really does form a more cohesive group. Also, do those bacon condoms, do they come in kosher format?
I don't
Wow, bacon condoms.
I don't know, but I was looking for a meme today, and I was scrolling through my photo album and came across 3 separate pictures of bacon condoms.
Yeah,
Hello.
They're the gift that keeps on giving.
So Drew, I have to ask. You kind of, I think, weren't you the one that went and tried to find bacon condoms?
No,
Yeah, so I tried to find bacon
Oh, he did
condoms,
too.
and the site that I found them on, they were all sold out. And
Now-
then and that same site had other bacon products. Like they had like bacon flavored lube, and they had like bacon deodorant and bacon
can't.
like soap and everything.
No.
Are you
Do
supposed
they
to
have,
eat lube?
bacon air freshener?
Oh, they have bacon candles now, so
I
I
would
wouldn't be
buy that.
surprised.
I used to work with a guy who said that the best thing that a woman can do is spray herself with bacon flavored perfume because men would be all over her. And I'm like, that's repulsive. And you're gross.
But Drew, I have to wonder, was your Facebook feed just filled with bacon condoms after that?
You know, I don't know. Maybe it was. I usually tend to not really notice Facebook ads very much. I'm not a good candidate, but it probably was. I did look up to see if there was any Cheese Whiz flavored lube as
Oh,
well.
gross. I forgot about the fucking Cheese Whiz. I actually told Godless Iowan and Mrs. Snarky that I was trying to help them out with, wedding planning, and we got around to catering. And I was like, okay, the first question that you ask a caterer is, do you serve Cheese Whiz? If the answer is no, move on. I think that's good advice. Maybe not.
But just to remind the chat, we are taking questions from you guys. We would love to know
Yeah, I've
what
been-
kind of
yeah.
questions we guys have. We would love to be able to answer them. And anything that you might want to know about the new Faithless Forum nonprofit organization. We do kind of have a rough structure for our board. Of course, we have Genetically Modified Skeptic here as president.
Not everybody has announced what they're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, GM has, I have, you have.
Yeah, that's all.
So I'm vice president, and Casey's director of event planning.
And secretary, because guys suck at organization. Except Drew's pretty good at it, but that's what
I
he's.
think I'm officially a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say what you are there, Kool-Aid? I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah, I think I am the chief emperor god of marketing.
That will be his official title. That's
Yeah,
it.
we're having trouble with his business cards fitting it all on there, but we're working it out.
Yeah, when I announced him in the group, like we were kind of deciding roles, and I added Thomas to our like official board member group chat and was like, meet our director of marketing and honorary god emperor.
Godless Iowan asks KC, can I be director of dick jokes? No, that's me. Don't try to usurp me there, Godless Iowan.
Oh God, we're professionals here, people. total professionals.
I think that Mrs. Snarky asked it was a little while ago, what can she do to help?
Well, I think when we figure out what we're doing, we'll let you know what we can do.
Yeah.
So it's only been a couple of weeks since the forum, and we were all trying. I mean, we all have, well, most of us have jobs like outside of this, right? And so we're all trying to do our thing, get back to our lives and what we're doing. And we were also trying to edit up all of the sound, all the audio and video from the forum so that we could get it all out to you, which we did this week on everybody's channels. And so now we're kind of trying to get some of the, paperwork kind of stuff done, and we're trying to figure all that out. So we're just getting organized. Give us some time. We can definitely say we're doing Dallas 2019, right? That's a for sure deal. But we're actually going to be working on a online stuff we kind of touched on earlier, where we maybe do some panels occasionally online, and we'll do Faithless Forum online so that people who can't go can have some kind of Faithless Forum content. But other than that, we're green, people.
Yeah, for updates and stuff, I would say anyone who's interested, like the Facebook page.
And the
Go
Twitter.
to Facebook.com/Faithless Forum. Is it Twitter.com/Faithless Forum as well?
It's at Faithless Forum, yeah.
At
I don't know
Faithless
how the
Forum.
URL
And
works.
as far as anybody helping out with what we want to do with this nonprofit. The main purpose of this nonprofit is to build a community. So, like Mrs. Snarky, she already does a lot to build the community up. I mean, she has live streams with Auntie Ordinary.
Yeah.
She just recently had a live stream or maybe a recorded chat or something with that Dr. Guyman.
Oh, you talked, Mrs. Snarky, you talked to that guy?
Yeah.
Oof.
So, I mean, she's already doing a lot. And plus, you know, she's also with the Godless Island, who does a lot on YouTube as well as his blog to build a community. So I would say that anybody looking to help or do anything, you know, you could help with our main goal of building a community. And, you know, having, you know, live streams or blogs or anything like that, just to be able to, you know, get our voices out there in general. Just in general, standing up and using your voice is the
Hey, do you guys want to tell them what our tagline is for?
I think, Casey, you need to tell them, because I was actually thinking that earlier, but you should tell them.
Well, so I was thinking,
Faithless Forum.
Yeah, for Faithless Forum, what our tagline is for Faithless Forum.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
It's not only don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Thomas is like, I'm quitting if it's not that.
Stay skeptical and don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I think it's so like I had this weird enough. I had this dream and we were all there. It was like Wizard of Oz, and we were recording a kind of commercial kind of thing for Faithless Forum 2, and everybody like did their own tagline, and it's like streamed together to make our Faithless Forum tagline. So I think it's stay skeptical, don't drink the Kool-Aid, and always stand up and use your voice. Right?
There you go.
Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. I think that's what it is. Yep. We're working on it. I told you, work in progress. We're getting there. But yeah.
And Telltale also wants to put in, thanks for watching, guys, or got some new fan art here.
Cheers.
Well, if we get some Faithless Forum fan art, I don't really know what that would look like right now, but we could start out with that.
as we get more and more people working on it, the Faithless Forum tagline is just going to become astronomically long.
Well,
what's up, heathens? Stay skeptical. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I've got some new fan art for you.
How y'all doing?
Prophet of Zod has like static.
Or the piano. Like we could have the piano in the background the whole time.
Dun 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 dun.
Down,
it is piano, right?
Down.
But yeah, I know that kind of the subheading or what we used this year was building community through discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that when we get down to it, that's what it's all about, is building a community through having these productive discussions, because we've noticed like lately that people just in our community alone just can't seem to have rational and level-headed discussions. I myself have a problem with like condescending tones. So like even if I misinterpret somebody as having a condescending tone, like it triggers me.
Well, and as much as like we say that, you know, there's so much division and so much infighting, which there is, but like I don't know, I've kind of started to shut all that out. Like I have closed the door on that part of everything and focused on the good stuff, because there's so much good stuff happening that I'm super impressed by. If anybody here hasn't seen the Non Sequitur show, you need to go subscribe to the Non Sequitur channel. They have shows almost every single night, and it's all about having discussions. And the other night they had on 2 Christians, one who believes in hell and one who doesn't. And it was just a super interesting conversation just to be a fly on the wall and listen to. It's kind of, to me, it was interesting because it's like, y'all can't even get your own shit straight. Like, we don't even need to say anything right now.
It's funny that I was just on a debate on their show with a Christian over the justification for religion.
Yes.
And so it's funny that you talk about how non-confrontational it is. When I was on that show, I came out without, swinging with the gloves off. But part of that was because you know, I've been on some of Steve's shows before where I've had a debate with someone and I came in for a discussion and got a debate. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
Well, and I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with some confrontation or passionate discussion. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the end of the day, everybody seems to come out at the end of the non-sex show. I mean, except for when John's on with Dean Esme. Like, and everything's fine. Like, everybody's cool. We just had a discussion, and whether it's two Christians or a Christian and an atheist, or two atheists talking about things that they don't agree with, like, it's still an atmosphere. Yeah, we can have discussion. We can disagree on things, and that's okay, because if we all agreed on everything, life would be really super boring. But
it still ended cordially.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it still ends cordially. And so, I don't know. I think that's something that's really important in our community. So, I mean, I've moved my focus to things like that. And the other stuff, I don't spend my time messing around with the drama.
Well, the drama is particularly destructive.
Godless, I went for Holy Kool-Aid came to chew bubblegum and kick ass. Steve was all out of bubblegum.
That's an awesome They Live reference. So another thing, not to, I guess, intrude and move on with the conversation, but another thing that we've kind of discussed is like ticket prices. Like one of the things, at least, that motivated me really was the outrageous ticket prices of a lot of conferences nowadays. And so what we want to try to do is make a commitment to always having low ticket prices so that everybody can come. So that, like, if you just have a spare $20 one weekend, you could definitely come to it. That's what it was this year, and we don't really foresee it getting too much higher. I mean, I don't know. Drew, what do you have to say about that? Drew is muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dog was barking. So, but yeah, so we want to do things like, we want to do it longer. You know, it'd be awesome to be able to do more than one day for our Dallas conference or something like that. But I mean, for me, the reason why I didn't go to the American Atheist Convention is because I couldn't afford the $250 ticket price. You know, and I mean, they did some discounted rates, but I didn't really feel right about that exactly. And so this conference is really supposed to appeal to more than just kind of the older demographic that tends to go to conferences, and which consequently makes them a little bit less energetic, which we want to include those people. That's great, but we also want something that's accessible for every demographic. And so keeping it cheap is a way to have young people in there too. Yeah, I mean, things could get a little bit more expensive, or we may have like sponsors or something like that. We may potentially have merch, but ultimately it comes down to the core value of keeping it cheap enough to where, you know, if someone's a college student and they have like a $50 budget for the entire month for their entertainment, like maybe they could still come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, you know, we talked about how, especially with some of the content creators who maybe don't have a huge like, if they're doing this full time and they don't have a lot of money, or they live quite a ways away, it would be nice to be able to fly some of them out there. Like, I know Telltale spent like quite a bit of money traveling to get to the conference on his own dime. And I think that if we can get to a point where we can afford that, to, you know, fly him out there and stuff, like, yeah, that would be amazing. And you know, like this time we had VIP tickets that were a little bit extra. So if we have some different events that we can charge a little bit higher for, increase the price just a little bit, then, you know, I don't have an issue with that, but I do want to keep it so that everyone is able to afford it. And so that if you are super low on cash, or you are a college student and stuff, like, we don't want to price you guys out of the market, because that's where a lot of the energy comes from, is the people who are passionate but not necessarily extremely affluent, or they don't have an entire life's nest egg saved up.
Right. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I really liked is that even though we had a VIP ticket, which was still only $50, right? So that's still not that much. What the VIP ticket got, the VIPs essentially was a different color lanyard and dinner with us. but it didn't give them access to us necessarily that other people didn't have. So if you buy a $20 ticket, you can still look right next to you, and sitting right next to you is GM Skeptic or me or whoever. I mean, John was up doing moderation a lot of the time, but you can look right next to you and you can see your creator sitting right there in the audience with you and talking to you. So it got you dinner with us, but it didn't mean that we didn't talk to everybody else that was there. Which I thought was really excellent, because a lot of times you go to conferences and, people who spend all this money, even on the basic tickets, they're still really expensive, really don't have access to the speakers. So, which is kind of understandable somewhat, but, Mike, fuck you.
Yeah. So we want to be able to stay accessible. We want people to be able to actually come up and talk to us. I mean, just with the people that were there, I think we ended up having 85 people total in the room at one time. And yeah, we want people to be able to come up and talk to us, but if we're going to have more people come in, we're going to have more creators, we'll need probably a longer event to give them more time. We'll need more unstructured time. So there are hurdles to make sure that we can actually keep this kind of in essence similar to what we had this year. But I think it's achievable based on how we have more experience now. We have a conference under our belt, and I think that we'll be able to make modifications that will allow us to do more of what we want. So I really do think that we'll get there. I think that we'll have plenty of time for people to be able to come out and hang out with us. And if we have even more creators, people will be able to interface with at least one or two of their favorite creators there, even if we have more people.
Yeah, Peachy.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
sorry.
think that it's important to point out too that, like, for the next one, um, because we've proven, that we were able to pull this off extremely short notice, and that it was so cohesive and positive, and that it wasn't about the drama and the infighting. I think that there are a lot of podcasters, YouTubers, other content creators, bloggers that they're going to start noticing this. They're going to start catching word and catching wind of it, and hearing about it, just partially word of mouth and partially from watching it on YouTube or hearing about it in a blog post or on a podcast. And they're going to be more likely to want to promote this type of thing.
Right.
So whether we do one big conference, or whether there's a lot of Faithless forums, like smaller ones that pop up all around the US, or whether it becomes kind of an online thing, or have one conference and then stream out the videos online after, like, we haven't completely solidified the exact direction that we want to take it yet. But either way, like, I don't think that the exposure is a bad thing, and I think that as people start to see how positive this is, we're going to get a lot more exposure. People are going to start talking about this. All the people right now that are like, oh, the atheist movement, it's just so toxic and it's just dead. It's like, that's horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's right now what we're seeing is an extremely positive group that is, it's not focused on the toxic infighting. It's not focused on, the bigotry or the misogyny or misandry or whatever else have, that has been so toxic to the community. And I'm not going to take sides. That a lot of these issues, people, they create straw men of the other side. They use
Well,
tactics that are,
it's the
unethical
radicals,
and stuff.
you know?
And I think what we're showing is that most of the movement is not defined by the radicals, and we're not going to sit up, shut up, sit down, and stop participating just because there's a few bad apples. We're going to create our own basket.
We're going to stay skeptical, don't drink the Kool-Aid, and always stand up and use our voices.
Yeah, that's totally what we're going to do.
But yeah, we have this family feel right now, and going forward, we want it to grow. We want this to eventually be able to be something that's huge, has a massive impact, and tons of people want to be involved in. But our main focus right now is perfecting our approach and preserving this family feel as we grow. That's probably the number one hurdle for all of this, is just making sure that it's cohesive. I mean, like with Reason Rally in 2012, people that there was like thousands and thousands of people, and people felt like it was this really awesome cohesive thing, and it grew and grew and grew, and then you have groups that break off. That always happens with any movement that's large. That will always happen. So what we're doing is we're trying to make something that eventually, yeah, maybe something ends up breaking off with this. I mean, we have to be realistic. That could be inevitable. But if it does, hopefully we're not breaking off into groups of radicals. We're breaking off into groups of people that want to take, the way we approach community just a little bit differently, or something like that. So, and if we can bring some of the groups that are fighting all the time together, or members that don't necessarily want to be under those radical groups anymore, want to join a different community, maybe we'll have a community that's welcoming enough under Faithless Forum that they'll want to join us, and they'll want to do something more productive.
Well, and
And
I
hope.
think too, like if you're always going to have subsets, you're always going to have little divisions and groups and stuff based off of personality differences at the very least. But if let's say that Faithless Forum starts to get really big, and maybe someone wants to take it international, and someone else doesn't, or something, like if there's a divide like that that does happen, then there's no reason that something like that can't be cordial, that something that you have then two groups that are awesome and doing great work and support each other and love each other. Like there's no
Right.
reason that we can't have um still kind of a collaborative spirit. And if the atheist movement or the secular movement grows to be so huge that it's we have a bunch of different splinter groups, that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. If they're at each other's throat and they make each other their enemies, then yes, it is. But if it's like, hey, this group is focusing on separation of church and state and fighting it from a legal perspective, and this group is focused on bringing atheist groups together, this group is focused on the atheist voices in minority communities and how they're discriminated against, and this so there's all these different groups that are going to spring up, and that's okay. Like we don't have enough time and energy to focus on every single issue or every single aspect, but what we do want to show is that you know just because people say hurting atheists is like hurting cats, it's like and I said this at the event, well, then give me some catnip or give me an old lady with a can opener, because that's far from impossible. And if you're just going to throw that out there and throw in the towel, then you're giving up too soon, and you're lazy and you're a quitter. There's no reason that we can't do this, and I think we've shown evidence that we are doing it.
Yep, agreed.
I would like to give a little bit of a shout out for Cat Brony. He just told all of us in the chat here. Thank you for all. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Do you need me to read it?
Yes.
Thank you for all you do with helping out and making us smaller channels feel so welcomed and accepted in the community.
And that's what we really want to do. And I did see a comment earlier in the chat here about how there's no movement needed and you just got to do certain things in order to make things better, basically. And I mean, I would have to disagree with that. I think that a movement is needed and a community is definitely needed. I mean, we see so many infractions on the separation of church and state, and we see, basically, I mean, for me personally, I feel like the U.S. government has almost has like a shadow theocracy behind it, because you have like so many cabinet members and like the president and whatnot meeting with radical Christians behind the scenes that talk about forcing God through government. And it just feels like it's on such a teetering point of becoming a theocracy. That worries me personally. But not only that, but you see so many things cropping up. Like, there's 3 God's Not Dead movies. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. There's 3 of them. And
it's like, how confident are they in their position if they have to say it 3 times? Really, guys? For real this time?
Well, and like,
really,
and they're
not
terrible.
dead.
And they're terrible.
Yeah, and like the last one is
terrible.
such a like a display of the persecution complex, because like you have the pastor that's been in all 3 movies, his like church gets firebombed, and it's just
which
like,
one did we watch?
we
didn't. That it wasn't even a God's Not Dead. What was the one that we watched
Well,
recently?
we've
The
seen,
Sorbo.
yeah, Let There Be Light.
Let There Be Light. Holy fuck! I don't know if y'all have seen that, but
I
wow.
saw the Bible Reloaded review. That was so good.
Yeah, but
Well,
I mean,
it's such a miscategorization. Like, how many hundreds of thousands of churches are there in the U.S., and how many of them have been firebombed by atheists?
yeah.
A single one. I cannot think of. I think there was like a church that got shot up. There was like some guy that was mentally ill in Texas. That's
Yeah.
the only one I can think of off the top of my head. And like,
But it wasn't like in the name of atheism. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. But even if we don't focus on these big things, here's what's important for everybody out there, because this is little stuff that everybody can do. Just this week, I had somebody that left a message or left a comment on one of my videos and was talking about how they're a teenager and their family is super religious and they're not, and they want to be able to make content, but they don't know how to use editing software and they don't want to use their face. So they needed help figuring out how to do an avatar or what to do for an avatar. And they had some ideas, but they just needed a little bit of guidance and help. So I used the atheist YouTubers, you know, the Thomas's group, and I posted on there and I was like, hey, I have this person. Is there anybody who can help? And everybody just jumped in. It was just a small thing. All I had to do was read a comment and post in a Facebook group, and creators jumped in. And now there are several people who are working on avatars. So she has some options for an avatar. And there are like Godless Cranium sent her a link for a video that he did that basically was tutorial on how to use some sort of editing software. And I don't know what software she had, but like all I did was connect people, and that's something that anybody can do.
I hope it wasn't OBS.
I don't know what it was. I didn't get into it because I don't know how to use editing software either. But it
wasn't OBS that he recommended, but
yeah, but it's small things. Or like I saw Godless Mom posted on Facebook. I think it might have been the week before last, and she was like, I just got a message from some guy in Bangladesh, and he's an atheist and came out, and he's gotten death threats and his life is in danger, and I feel so hopeless. And I was like, well, fuck, I know Allie Jackson. And, you know, she has Atheist Republic at her fingertips and all of these resources to be able to help. So all I did was say, Courtney, Allie, Courtney. And, you know, they opened a case to try to save this person's life. And it's not a big thing. That's not a big thing to do. It just takes a minute. And it's just little things that you can do in the community. We don't have to every day think about how are we going to fight the government and separating church and state. Yes, it's important and we do need to focus on those things, but little things add up and make into big things.
Right.
Can I say real quick too, just as a quick primer for anyone who is like, I have no idea how to get involved and I don't know how to use any software and I don't have any experience, but I have a powerful story. If you have an extremely powerful story, story is king. Content is king. Anything else should either amplify the story and add to it, or if it detracts from the story, cut it out. The best editing is removing stuff that isn't needed. And so literally all you have to do is, do you have a phone? If you have a phone, go into the room, turn off any fans, AC, you know, if you're next to like a noisy refrigerator, unplug that stuff, get close to the mic. Don't talk directly into it or else you'll get some air puffs and stuff. Just talk a little bit to the side, but get really close so that you have good quality. Get like under a blanket or something so there's not a lot of background whirs and noise and stuff.
Put
just
fucking cotton balls in a cup.
Record the story. It's you know, that is like the most basic thing. And then just find a royalty free footage. Just go on Google Images, do a Google image search for something like atheist logo or something, and just click. They have options. Just do labeled for reuse so you can use it in your video, and then just put that as the background and add the audio track. There's free software that you can get on your phone that will let you do that, that will just throw up an image, throw up an audio track, upload it to YouTube. That is the most simple possible video that you can do. But if you have an extremely powerful story, get it out there. Just get it out there. A great example of this is there was a YouTuber, Amal the Apostate, and she was living, I think, in Iran or somewhere in the Muslim world. And she uploaded this video where she was just railing at the blatant misogyny that takes place in the name of her religion. And so she just tied into, from a Muslim perspective or an ex-Muslim atheist perspective, what it's like living under that. And she just talked about it, but it was like extremely articulate, extremely well put, and very like emotional, passionate, like from experience. And she uploaded that, got a few thousand views. I shared it around, but then she had to take down her channel. But I was able to share that story, and I added some visuals to it, and it got a lot more exposure for that. I kind of altered her voice just a little bit, for because she didn't want to show her face and stuff, and I was concerned about privacy, but I put it with a montage of like images and pictures and articles and stuff, and it got a lot more exposure. But if you have a story to tell your story, get it out there. It's important, and it's not hard.
No,
So
yeah.
what I'll say is that with Faithless Forum, ultimately, and I think that like Alex Cosmic Skeptic has made kind of this point, is what we want to do with our activism is, and what Thomas said with his speech at the end of Faithless Forum is, we want to do this. We want to make a community that keeps growing and keeps getting more and more active to the point where we are not needed anymore. It's going to be such a ripple effect that we don't have the atheist community anymore. We don't have the, just Faithless Forum and these people having to organize just to get atheists together. Eventually, we want to make skepticism a part of our culture. That's the point. So hopefully what we'll do is, even people who can't be a part of Faithless Forum, we inspire them to take up the similar values and similar practices, and to be skeptical, and to reach out to people, want to connect people, have a community oriented mindset. Just
saturate the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's under Faithless Forum or if it's related to us or whatever. If we can inspire through ripple effect people saturating the internet with this stuff, it becomes our culture, and we don't have to like rage against the machine anymore. I mean,
well, imagine too, like if every single video that you click on the internet, if let's say that 40% of people in your country or online or globally no longer believe in God, and they don't buy into this BS, and they care about skepticism. I'm not saying that that's the number that it's at right now, but let's say that it gets to that, or maybe it gets to 60%. But everyone doesn't realize that all the other people around them, most of them are skeptical too, or not religious too, and they're all just kind of hiding it because they don't want to be found out. They don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to be kicked out of their community, when in actuality, maybe there's a lot more of a majority than we think. But imagine if every single time you go online, you encounter rebuttals in the comment section, of blogs and of videos, and in Facebook comments, someone's like, well, that's stupid because of this and this, and here's the science behind this, and they're linking to scientific journals and whatnot, and they're explaining how the scientific method works, and they're
Frozen.
The internet as we
popsicle.
know it was just packed full of that stuff. We're not necessarily going to be a majority online, but we can be loud, and we can talk, and we can stand up and use our voice. We can speak out.
It's possible.
There's no reason that we can't.
It's possible to do that with compassion.
There's no reason that we can't saturate the internet, because we're passionate about it and we care.
Yeah.
Well, we can be loud also without being obnoxious. Like, I think that's another point is right now, some of the loudest voices are the radical voices. And that's crazy. That's not what represents all of us. So I think it's important that we be loud while also not being radicalized.
It's like, you don't have to be Antifa to be against fascism.
Yeah. Right. So that's pretty much what it's about. I mean, one of the reasons we had street epistemology is that we want people to get out there and start the conversations, but we have to help them gain the tools to be able to actually do that constructively. Because I mean, anybody can go out, and I think in a lot of people's angry atheist phase is when they're most motivated to talk about this stuff, and they rail against people that make these claims, but it's in a way that just triggers the backfire effect so much that it doesn't really help. And so if you can, you can use counter apologetics, and you can use them in a non-confrontational way that will challenge people, but it won't be threatening, it won't be bullying. Or if you like, very little confrontation, or you're with somebody who's a lot more sensitive to that kind of thing, then use street epistemology in your one-on-ones and actually change their mind just by asking them questions.
Godless Help in the chat here said we should have an atheist exchange so everyone can post single stories but have a large page. I'm not exactly sure, like, if Godless Help was talking about like on Facebook and whatnot, but like that's one thing that I'm hoping to do with like my channel and my own activism is, you know, getting people you know, on interviews or whatnot to talk about their individual stories. And I mean, while it would be nice to have that like as a large page, I'm like, I think a group would probably be better for that. And I mean, several of us have groups, but I think that that's a really great idea. It's just I'm not exactly sure how to execute that. I just wanted to address that in the comments real quick.
Yeah.
But we are kind of coming up on an hour here, and I was kind of wanting to keep it at an hour, because I mean we could talk for probably 3 days. But I want to know like what all of us think about the future plans like online for Faithless Forum and gearing up for Faithless Forum 2019. Because I know me personally, I would love for us to do like a 1 month like live stream thing, like once a month have a live stream where we have a panel online to kind of keep the buzz alive about Faithless Forum, and we can also use those you know, those events to try to you know, garner like donations to help us out with putting it on. Now, most of the costs are covered by tickets, but if, you know, any donations that we were to get, one would be tax deductible after we get our nonprofit status, but also it would help us be able to fly in more creators. So, some of the smaller creators like Paula Gia, Shannon, and Godless Cranium, those would be people that we would love to have out here next year. And it would be awesome if we could pay for like their flights so that, you know, they could meet some of their you know, either US side fans. And I think that would be awesome. Plus, they have such unique stories. Each one of them does.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh no, well, I was just gonna say, I mean, as far as this goes, if you guys are wondering about the financial situation, this is not something we're taking salaries for.
No.
This is a volunteer thing, and that's how it'll remain. But we want to make sure that basically people are supported in coming out. They get something more than they lose. They're not having to necessarily if they're a smaller creator, they're not going to have to just take a huge financial hit to even be able to participate. We want them to be able to actually come out at no cost to them. And so if we can get there, that's where we want to go. And that's why we volunteer. That's why, you know, we're not taking salaries for this. So donations are completely used to just help put on conferences. And if we, for some reason, ended up getting something just massive as far as donations go, that's still not going to be going to us. It's going to be put back into the community in some way.
And to future events and things like that. So yeah. Also, we have Professor Stick in the house. I don't know if anybody
knows. I was gonna say, not only did we not take personal, you know, salaries or anything for any of this, but like every single one of us paid for our own way out there and paid for our own hotels there and stuff. So we actually, you know, paid out of pocket for that
stuff.
Well,
yeah, and not
Bill
only
and I together paid for the venue and for the catering and everything. So
yeah, and for the snacks, and then like Telltale, he paid for the website and all the hosting and all that kind of stuff, and then we did the lanyards and we got some other stuff. So like, yeah, we all contributed, not just getting there, but we all contributed to making the event happen, and because it means a lot to us.
Yep.
Well, as far as donations go, is there a way right now that they can donate? Or is that something we'll have to set up here in the next couple of days?
So I have the PayPal and everything, and so that's something I can work with Telltale on, setting up a donations thing. But I think that what we'll do, if we end up doing some online events, which we'll have to talk about exactly what we want to do with that. But if we have live streams, we'll have super chats, and for that, the super chats for Faithless Forum online events will all be consider donations to Faithless Forum and will only be used to that.
Yeah, no matter whose channel they're on.
We have it on Jan. Oh, sorry, Casey.
I was just gonna say, no matter whose channel they're on, we'll calculate how much super chats were for that event, and it will all get, you know, whoever the creator is that hosts it will put that into the Faithless Forum account.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And not only will it help to get creators out there, but also if we wind up doing more than one day, like a 2-day event or a full weekend or something, like that's twice the cost of the venue to have, twice as many days.
Right.
Right.
And with wanting to keep the tickets super affordable for everybody, that's additional cost that, we're not trying to make a lot of money off of this. We just want to be able to have the events and help people come out so that, like Thomas said, people who can't necessarily afford to come to the event, can still take part in it. So that's what matters to us.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, as far as I go, I think that's the main points of Faithless Forum right now.
Mhm.
That's our State of the Union.
Can I just say, I was told that Drew would be eating breakfast cereal on camera, and I thought we were all gonna have like a Saturday morning breakfast together.
He did.
now
Well,
You
that,
just
that
missed
was
it.
before. Yeah, that was before. 'Cause you came in like 2 seconds right before we went on air, and I was
Yeah.
here like 15 minutes early, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was trying to attract people into the chat.
My dog barfed on the couch, and I had to clean it up.
Yeah, so you missed Drew
But
eating
so-
cereal.
So here I thought we were gonna have breakfast together, but instead I'm just a dick eating on camera.
No, it's fine. I had coffee, which is my usual breakfast. So
Breakfast of champions.
yes, coffee is my
First-
usual breakfast, and I'm lucky if I get to eat lunch.
For a second, I thought that we were out like just laying out what we ate for breakfast, and I was like, "Yeah, I had cereal." And then Thomas is like, "Yeah, my dog puked on the couch." So I was like, "Oh God, where's this going?"
Our chat, our Faithless Forum board chat is super entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Like Anthony Magnabosco is in one of the groups that we're in, and he's gotten to hear some like really weird shit. So I'm really glad that he's actually still wanting to be involved after that.
Oh yeah, he did. He sent me a message and said he would love to be involved next year. So yeah,
Also,
we'll
I'm glad that we went with the name for Faithless Forum because and the tagline "building community through discussion." It is a lot more cohesive than the alternative, shit posting for the lols.
though we have to walk that line though, right? Because we're still part of the skeptic mafia. So in order to keep getting the paychecks, shit posting is kind of required, right?
Paychecks.
Look at my
You can call accounting. I'll send you the number. I'm not going to send him the number.
Patreon account, and then look at my content, and you can tell that I definitely get money for shit posting, right? That makes perfect sense.
I'm just
Exactly.
waiting for my reptilian overlords to notice me.
So somebody in the chat, dead somebody or other, said Godless Engineer is Casey in another room, split the screen. We're sitting right next to each other. Like, see, right? Thank you for fucking up my hair. I really appreciate that. You're sweet.
So yeah, but yeah, like we were saying, this is kind of our current state of Faithless Forum and our thoughts on it, and being able to interact with people that are interested in the group in general. Which I know that it's pretty much just my kind of group of people that are in the chat right now. But I mean, there's a lot of overlap, as we can all tell.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, Prophet Azad really tried to get in here. He was having some technical difficulties, but he was trying to get in.
Yeah, he's on our board too.
Don't.
No,
You let people announce their own news, man.
well, I didn't say what position he was in.
But Prophet Azad is definitely involved. He's a great guy, has a great channel.
I mean,
So-
the stream is Faithless Forum Q&A session with organizers.
Yes, he was an organizer, yeah. Somebody asked if Casey and Godless are related. No, we're not related.
Well, I said that I'm just entering
Super
this in.
awkward.
Is that an Alabama thing?
Well, I was just saying, I said, no, John and Casey are together, but then I just entered in the chat, but they are from Alabama, so sometimes that happens.
Oh, well, yeah.
That doesn't help.
You're in Texas. I mean, it's not that much better.
Yeah,
Right?
no, that's
True story.
Well, Arkansas is the worst.
Well, so I'm from California, but since I'm living in Oklahoma right now, my first comment when I walked into the Walmart here, the small little local Walmart, is I turned to my girlfriend and I'm like, is this where like the incest babies come from?
I have to say, man, when we were in Dallas, they have the fanciest fucking Walmarts I have ever seen in my life. Now, I'm
That
not
Walmart
from.
next to Faithless Farm was nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's a Walmart upstairs and a Sam's Club downstairs. Like it's a 2-story freaking Walmart Sam's Club extravaganza. And I went to a different Walmart that was like. And then we went to one that was near the hotel when we got there to get like some drinks and shit for the room. Which, by the way, I was saying earlier that Peachy commented that maybe a way that we can save money on next year's Faithless Forum is not buy so many snacks, because we had snacks and drinks, non-alcoholic beverages, water and soda and stuff for everybody for free. So we did that, but we did have tons left over. So yeah, but yeah, we went to the Walmart and that was near the hotel, and it was super fancy too. And I was like, I don't understand this Dallas place. It's bizarre.
Well, we were in North Dallas. If you go to South Dallas and go to the Walmart there, then like,
Yeah.
if you're wearing appropriately fitting clothing and you're like you can't see your ass crack or underwear, or if you don't look like super sketch, then something's gonna happen to you. You might get mugged. I don't
You
know.
gotta make sure that you have meth marks before you shop it in South Dallas.
Oh, this was my first time ever being to Texas. This is actually the first time I've ever driven across the Mississippi River. So I'd never been to Mississippi, Arkansas, or Texas. So I got to do that. So that was fun.
You got to go through Texarkana, which literally smells like sulfury farts all the time, and that's not an exaggeration. The entire town does. There's 2 paper mills, and they produce like some sulfur byproduct, and it smells like farts 24/7. Like you
Oh.
go there, and people are like, "Yeah, well, people say that when they pass through, but I can't smell it no more."
Well, that's probably because I live there.
Time for Pancakes just commented, not buy so many snacks. Fucking microaggression.
Time for Pancakes is one of our favorite people. I love Time for Pancakes. So funny.
But yeah, we would love to hear like what kind of panels and everything everybody would like to see next year. Not like on this stream right now, but you know, you guys know how to contact us and leaving comments and whatnot, because we're throwing around a lot of ideas of what things we would love to see. And but I mean, we also want ideas from the community, because that is who we're serving.
Yeah, it's not just about us. It's for and about y'all too. So your ideas are important to us.
Definitely, and always follow us on Twitter at Faithless Forum, and you can suggest panels and everything there. And
as soon as I figure out how to reset the password on that, then it'll be more than just me.
Well, no, I'm on it too.
Oh, you're on the Twitter too?
I'm on the Twitter too.
How did you get the password? We have to figure out the password. I set this stuff up, and I don't remember anything.
He knows where you keep your Post-it notes.
I actually don't keep Post-it notes, but I know I had to. I probably just told you the password.
Maybe.
So you put it in. I don't know. Anyway, once we figure it out, then we'll all be able to have access to the Faithless Forum Twitter.
Yeah.
But one more plug, guys. Make sure, and we actually already got a wave of likes, but let's go make sure that you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, Faithless Forum on both, because that is the way you'll be able to keep in touch about this stuff. If you follow all of us individually, depending on the algorithm, you may not actually get all the news. So it's best.
I think Twitter, last I saw, was at 99 followers. So whoever goes and follows will be like the lucky 100th.
And you'll win God points, which I've heard are worth a whole lot.
Yeah, about as much as a view for God's Not Dead.
That's what I heard.
But anyways, do we want to have any final thoughts to leave everybody with? I mean, I'm totally stoked and excited for the next one, and I can't wait for us to start really planning what to have at the next conference. And so I want to know what everybody else thinks.
Me personally, I just want to start a pool for over under on how long our first board meeting lasts.
3 hours with 1 hour of actual work.
2 hours and 18 minutes with 15 minutes of actual work.
Yeah, Thomas and I, every time we talk, we work on whatever we're working on for like 15, 20 minutes and then talk for 2 more hours. every time.
Yeah. Well, that was me and Drew when we were planning this thing. Everybody would get off the phone, like fall off as they, as they needed to go. And then it would always end up me and Drew. And we'd just be on the phone until like 12 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It was crazy.
True.
Well, Drew and I found out that we actually went to, before I transferred to A&M, we actually went to the same conservative Christian private college for a year. Although not at the same time. I'm old as balls, but
oh yeah, I know.
It was like a 4-year difference, but still.
And he's like 14, right?
Yeah, around
14.
There.
Yeah.
He's married, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Apparently in Texas you can get married super young.
Yeah, does your wife know? Does your wife know you're 14?
We went to Arkansas for that and then came back.
That you guys got that done in Texarkana.
Yeah. Wedding smelled like ass, but it sure was beautiful.
All right, Drew, do you have any final thoughts for everybody that's watching?
I just want to remind everyone, don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Shots fired.
And use your voice.
Oh god damn, then we have to use Drew's. What's his? I don't watch his videos. Stay skeptical. Stay skeptical, folks.
All right, that's about it. We'll see you guys.
Bye. I don't know how to end shit.
Here.
I'm like, hold on. John has to end shit because I don't know how to do anything.
Bye, heathens. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and we will see you guys next time.